Hello, my name is Yuri Shevchenko. Unfortunately, I cannot join the conference in presence this year, so instead I have recorded this video. The plan is the following. I start with an introduction of what is Samply, why did we develop it, what are the basic components, a website and mobile application, what has been the development path and timeline so far. In the second part of my talk, I'm going to introduce you main features of Samply and walk you through the main steps of creating your own study. We will start with interval and signal contingent designs, and after that we will look at the geofencing method. And finally, I end with the Samply API for triggering notifications based on any custom event. The goal of the Samply is to help researchers to schedule and send mobile notifications to study participants. There is a number of research methods such as experience sampling method, daily diary method, or ecological momentary assessment that need to prompt participants to respond at some random time using their smartphones. The problem has been that if you want to create a native mobile application, you have to program it in a language that operation system will understand. For Android, it has been Java. For Apple, it is Objective-C or Swift. If you want to have your app on both devices, you basically have to program it twice. That's why there are a lot of applications that only work on one of the platforms. The second problem is that proprietary software often has some number of predefined possible response types that you can ask participants. Researchers are bound to use these tools that were provided by the apps. Third, the cost of these apps can be extremely high. For example, you might need to spend around $500 for 50 participants in one of the platforms. For additional information on other mobile applications and solutions, I leave this link down below on the slide. In our research group, we have developed the website and the mobile application Samply, which supports data collection on smartphones. Samply is entirely free both for researchers and participants. The software consists of two entities. One is the website, which is used by researchers. On this website, you as a researcher can set up a study and create notification schedules. Participants can download the mobile app free of charge from the respective Apple or Google App Stores. Through this app, participants will receive mobile push notifications from researchers. The app also collects the information how participants interact with push notifications, and there is also a way for participants to set up their personal time preferences, which are displayed to a researcher. For the paper reference, please see the article in Behavior Research Methods, where we explain Samply functionality in detail. If you're wondering about what type of studies you can do with Samply, here is the summary of 3 possible research designs. Let's imagine that we are interested in studying stress, in particular finding out what factors cause stress in the everyday life. How can we approach this question? First, we can ask people to tell us at some regular time intervals what happened with them. For example, at the end of each day, people report on how stressful was their day and how they felt. Although this design is quite common, you might think about its disadvantage. All sorts of memory biases that can distort the perception. People might forget important details or report the most recent experiences. To mitigate these issues, we turn to the second possible research design. Instead of some regular intervals, we will randomly select some time points and ask people at these times. But it's still possible that the signal does not occur close in time to the stressful event. Then, we want to survey participants at the moment when the event happens. We would have to ask participants to self-initiate a survey when the event happens, using the event contingent design. For example, if they just had a stressful conversation. This design will have the advantage of immediacy and reduction of retrospection bias. All these types of designs are supported by Samply. A bit of technical background and programming languages that are used in this project. The website part for researchers is running as a Node.js Express server. The part with scheduling notifications is done with a cron scheduler, which runs on the server. The second part of the project is the native mobile application that can be downloaded from App Store or Google Play. To solve the problem of different languages on two platforms, we use the React Native framework. React Native is written in JavaScript, but can be rendered in the native code of each platform. On top of that, we use push notifications to deliver messages to participants. And let's first look at the features of the website for researchers. You can set up various types of time schedules and randomize it for each participant. You can customize the message that you want to send to participants together with the URL link of your web survey. This link will be opened on the smartphone of the participant when he or she taps on the notification. Samply will record the time events when the participants interact with your notifications, so you can calculate your response rate and response time. At the same time, the participants can remain anonymous. There is no need to record their mobile phone numbers or email addresses to be able to communicate with them. You can of course ask for this information in your web survey if you need it, but in principle it's not required for a study. Let's now turn to the participant side and look at the features of the mobile application. These accounts the participants create are password protected and connected to their email addresses, so they can recover their passwords. The login information is used only for authentication of participants and not available to a researcher. After logging in, participants can browse the list of public studies or get invited to the study using a QR code. They have access to the history of all notifications that were sent to them before. They can also set up their time preferences for receiving notifications. When the notification arrives, it is displayed in the notification bar of the phone. Once the participant taps the notification, the link opens in a mobile web browser. Samply is agnostic to what kind of software you use to create your online survey or an experiment. It can be a Google form, it can be a Qualtrics survey, or any software of your choice. In this example, we did the study where we asked participants once per day to complete the survey about their life during the COVID pandemic. Participants were notified at random times during the day. When they tapped on the notification, a survey was opened in the mobile browser and asked various questions, such as how do participants feel or how much resources they have and so on. Development of Samply started in 2020. 2.5 years ago in May, there was a first version of the mobile app available online. Since that time, we conducted several usability studies and also used Samply in our own research. Later, the geofencing feature was added to the app. We have built support for private and public studies on the platform, included time zones in the notifications planner, and added the expiration time feature for notification links. And this year, we released a Trigger API, an application programming interface which allows researchers send notifications based on external custom events. We included the support of localization, translating the mobile app into different languages, including German, Russian, and Chinese. The recently added feature with event contingent sampling allows researchers to provide permanent links so participants can initiate self-reports through the app. And now let's look at how you can use Samply. If you start to use Samply as a researcher, at the first step you register an account on the website. We ask you to provide the university email address so we can verify your account. Samply is intended to help researchers, so we don't support any commercial use of Samply such as for marketing or advertisement. At the next step, you create a new study by giving it a name, description, and the consent form text. This information is displayed to the participants in the mobile app. You can upload an image file and this image will be displayed in the mobile app next to your study. If you work with a colleague with whom you want to share the access to the study, you can enter their email address or leave the field blank and do it later. Sharing a study allows you to collaborate on a project, have the shared access to the notification schedule and history of sent notifications. After adding a study, you will see the card of the new study, which shows the name and status of the study along with two buttons to edit and delete the study. The toggle switches at the bottom of the card are gray. This means that your study is currently in preparation stage. When you are ready to run your study, toggle the switch to make it active. Your study will have a unique URL address which can be shared with participants. The web page of your study will contain the QR code with which participants can join the study in the app. There is also an option to make your study public, which means it will be available in the list of studies in the app. And making study public requires an approval from our side. The next step will be to schedule notifications. Please proceed to the tab called Notifications. To schedule a notification, we will have to make a couple of decisions. And it's like building blocks that you can put together and can tweak each part separately. Basically, you have choices to whom to send notifications, when to send them, and when the link should expire. And let's look at some schedule examples. In a simple case, it's just a specific date and time, like sending notification on September 10th at 3 p.m. The time point can be randomized, like in the second example, where I just provide a time window between 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. and the time is picked up randomly for each participant. The third example shows that I repeat my notification every weekday in September with a specific time window. And finally, the last example demonstrates that the schedule can be constructed with regard to each participant, in particular with regard to the moment when the participant started the study. In this case, participants can join the study at different times. The dates will be different, but each participant will receive notifications for 2 weeks. We start preparing the notification with the information that we are going to send our participants. Both a title and message will be shown to the participants in the notification bar. A web link is not displayed to the participants. If you need to record the participant information in the web survey, you can use placeholders. And let's look at how it can be done. First, I add a query string to the web link of my survey. Then I add a placeholder. In this way, I can include the following information in the link: the message ID, the participant ID and participant code, the group ID, the timestamp, and the notification number. Now, on the side of the web survey, I can read these values from the query string and save it into the database together with the survey responses. Coming back to the notification scheduler, now I'm going step by step through all decisions that I have to make with regard to the notification. Regarding the time zone, I can either select a specific time zone by clicking on the map, or I can select the checkbox here to adjust the time to participants' time zone. And this option can be useful if I'm doing an international study, for example, and I want participants in different countries to be notified at, for example, at 9 a.m. at their local time zone. Next, I will select the participants. I can schedule notifications to all future participants. If there are already participants who joined the study before, I can select a specific participant. I can also schedule a notification for the group of participants. In this case, the notification will be sent at the same time to all members of the group. With respect to the step 3, choosing time, I can select a specific time point, time window, or repeat the notification every n minute. The last option might be useful for testing. At the next steps, I select the date and the month. I can choose either specific date or create a repeated notification on a particular day of the week or day of the month. Now I select when to start and when to stop sending notifications. Here I can create a participant-dependent schedule by selecting time relative to the moment of the participant registration in the study. For example, I can start sending notifications on the next day after the moment of participant registration and stop sending notifications at the end of the 15th day. Then, each participant will receive notifications for exactly 2 weeks. Finally, I can make the study link expire, so participants will not be able to open it after some time. When your study is ready, it's time to invite participants. Please proceed to the tab Invitations to find the link of your study. There are 3 ways to invite participants to your study. Their specifics are described on the website. The most easiest way is to use a web page of your study. The page will show the information about your study and will include the instructions on how participants can install the app and join the study. If you click on the tab Participants, you will find the list of your participants here. For each participant, you will have the following information: the status of the participant, which you can toggle off and on. It defines whether the participant currently receives schedule notifications. The Samply ID is a unique identifier for each Samply user. Next, a notification token will tell you whether a participant has a problem with joining the study or if the participant left the study. The entry date shows when the participant has joined the study. Participant code is an optional feature of your study that will be a code that the participant has entered when joining your study. The same is for the group code if a participant has entered a group code or if you assign a group code later. Time preferences and time zone is the information collected from the mobile app, which might help you to schedule notification for a particular participant. Then you have a payout link with which you can pay participants if you wish. Then there are links to the notifications log and notification planner. Finally, you can remove participant from the study by deleting it. Samply records the timestamps for the events when the notifications was sent and when it was opened by the participant. This information can be downloaded as a CSV file and can be used to calculate the response rate and response time. Together with the timestamp, you can have access to the batch number. This is the notification number. It starts from 1 for each participant and then increments by 1 with each sent notification. Finally, you can check the delivery status of the notification, and in case if there was an error, you can also see the delivery receipt, and you can delete the records if you wish. If you proceed now to the tab Groups, you can find the interface for creating groups of participants. By using groups, you can do 2 things. First, you can send notifications to all groups members at the same time. And second, you can use a Trigger API to send notifications based on external custom events. I will be talking about this API later. To use the app, a participant first downloads it from the respective iOS or Android store. Then the participant registers a new account. The purpose of registration is to hinder multiple participation and keep a persistent account for the user. The user can log in with the same credentials in the website as well. We store all the user data in Germany at the server of the University of Constance. The way to handle the data is GDPR compliant, and you can find the full description in our privacy policy on the website. We do not use the data for analytics or advertisement. The private user information, such as an email address, is not shared with researchers and only used for user authentication. Geolocation information is processed locally on the device. The notifications logs are available only to researchers responsible for the study and can be deleted by them at the website. And one comment about the type of the account. Usually one account can be used both in the mobile app and on the website. However, keep in mind the difference between the participant and the researcher account. If you created an account in the mobile app, that will be the participant account. You will not have access to the researcher functionality on the website. On the contrary, if you created a researcher account on the website, with this account you can log into the app and test your own study if you wish. After logging into the app, participants can find the study in the list of public studies or use QR code, which is shown in the screenshot on the left. By clicking the button Join the Study, participants will proceed to the consent form, and here a researcher can ask them to provide a participant or a group code before they join the study. After giving the consent and joining the study, the active study is displayed on the home screen of the app. At this point, participants can close the app. Sometimes it can happen that a notification is accidentally deleted by the user. In this case, participants can find it in the history inside of the mobile app. The mobile app also allows users to express their time preferences when they want or do not want to be notified. This information will be displayed to researchers in the list of participants on the website. That's it for the basic functionality of the mobile application and the website. And now let me talk a bit about the special feature of Samply, which allows you to conduct studies with geofencing method. But first, what is exactly geofencing? Geofencing entails defining a border around a geographical location, such as the statue of the charging bull in New York in this example. Incidents of entering, leaving or staying within the boundaries for some time can be detected by smartphone, and each of these events can trigger an action, such as sending a survey to a participant. It is important that you still can apply geofencing and collect the data even if you do not know the location of the participant. This is ideal for situations where you are researching sensitive topics or you cannot collect location data for privacy reasons. Geofencing has a number of advantages over traditional geolocation tracking method. Continuous tracking can be perceived by participants as a potential violation of their privacy, which would reduce compliance and participation rates. There are also concerns about geo-tracking causing battery drain on smartphone. Geofencing, on the other hand, allows the smartphone to save battery power and trigger an event only when some predefined geographical borders are crossed. Research using geofencing method has only begun in the last decade. There are not so many examples of studies, but potential research areas include both the study of behavior in context and the application of interventions. Mobile health research can benefit from including locations in the analysis, as many addictive behaviors, such as alcohol consumption, are triggered by specific places. In Samply, there are two types of the location. First, locations provided by researchers can include areas that are the same for all participants, for example, a university or a city center. Secondly, participant-defined locations are places that are unique to each participant, for example, home or workplace. For the locations determined by a researcher, we have set up a website interface that allows the researcher to enter GPS coordinates and define the radius of the fence for geofencing. For locations specified by participants, each participant can use the mobile app interface to select locations on the map. The coordinates are stored locally on the phone and not shared with the Samply website and the researcher. That's it about geofencing, and finally I would like to briefly talk about Trigger API. To give you a more concrete idea about the Trigger API, let's think about the following example. Let's say we created a group of participants, for example, students of the same class. Then the researcher can define an event that will trigger notifications to all group members. For example, this event could be a specific answer in a survey. In this case, if one of the participants gives that answer in the survey, the notification is sent to all group members. The implementation of this mechanism is done through a post request, which is sent to the Samply server. More information about that you can find on the website. So using this post request allows you to send the trigger in case of any external event, for example, when the survey is done or when a specific response is given. You can also connect it with some third parties, for example, a Telegram bot. The trigger can also be self-initiated by one of the participants. Please don't hesitate to contact us in case if you have any questions or ideas about joint projects. Thank you very much for your attention.